Hello world, this is Shruti Pandey, and today I have with me Samson Williams, who is, for me at least, I feel like he's the Mr. Know-It-All. You ask him anything about crowdfunding, to Bitcoins, to NFT, to blockchain, to even law. I feel like he just knows it all. And every time we talk, I just ask him one single question, which is like, what do you do for a living? Ain't that right? So, Samson, thank you so much for doing this with me and answering the questions and agreeing for that. I'm very happy that you gave me your precious time.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I won't even tell everyone that you called me fat because I sit here eating my breakfast. But we'll keep that between you and me because at least your eyes work well. So, what questions are we going to answer today?
Very simple questions. Like literally, it's the question which everybody asks and can Google it, but still doesn't get the better answer. And I know that you are the one where people come to or ask questions which Google can't help them for, right? That's how you're thinking.
100%.
So I'll start with my first question, which is what is blockchain? This is very simple. Like you can do this in your sleep and having breakfast also.
Mhm. If you ever have one of these amazing supercomputers that we typically just use to stalk folks on social media, if you've been on a group text message before, so there's 200, 500 of us, we're sending data. Data can be a picture, a meme, an address, a song. So in this group text message, we have a distributed ledger because it's on everyone's phone. You can scroll up and down. That's what makes it a ledger. It's encrypted because if you send a not safe for work photo, it's everywhere. It's never going away. Feel free to send me a not safe for work photo if you're out there watching. Shruti will give you my phone number. And so when you look at blockchain, it's a distributed timestamp ledger of encrypted data, our group text message. So the concept is not new. There are a lot of people who, for branding and marketing purposes, are like, oh my God, blockchain is so new. But then it's like, no. We already had, we've had the ability to hit these 5 rubrics ever since we had WhatsApp.
So true. Wow. See, this is the exact reason why I wanted Samson Williams to answer some questions for me. So next question is again pretty easy. What is crypto? Now that we've defined blockchain, what is crypto? Or yeah, let's go for it.
I'm looking for money. I have a drawer. It's got some money in it. Find some money. So cryptocurrency is me and Shruti and 10 other people. We're in a group text message, and I want to send them 100 Jamaican dollars. Right? I can't really do that via text message. All right, let's go with dirhams. I have some dirhams from Dubai. I want to send them 100 dirhams from Dubai. You can't do that on a group text message, but I can send a packet of data that says, I have $100, 100 dirhams. I send Shruti 10. Shruti sends some random phone number 5. Everyone in the group text message, they know that I only have $90 left. Because when you scroll up on the ledger, you can see Samson had 100, he sends Shruti 10, Shruti sends a phone number plus 529999, $5. So you can't claim to have $500 million, and I can't claim to have $1 million because everyone can look in this group text message, scroll up and down, be like, nope, Samson, you start off with 100, you've only got 90 left, Shruti has 5. And so when you ask what are cryptocurrencies, they're just the record of these transactions. That's it. Some people would be like, oh, this Bitcoin is better than this Ethereum. And I'm like, but we're only talking about bits of data. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, those are brands. They're marketing brands to say that my packet of data is worth more than that packet of data. Because the funny thing about this $100 Jamaican and this $100 dirhams, they're not worth $100 US, even though they're all just paper. And that's gonna have, we'll have to pause right there because people are like, hold up, did you say this piece of paper with magic hieroglyphs that says 100 and this piece of paper with magic hieroglyphs that says 100 aren't the same as a US $100 bill? I'm like, no, not at all. But Shruti doesn't want me to talk about colonialism at the moment, so we're gonna pause there.
But okay, I'm not trying to mess up with you, but isn't it a classic banking operation or a net banking thing. We are trying to maintain a ledger, maybe a global ledger, where you say, okay, Shruti has X amount and Samson has Y amount, and their currencies, again, my being INR, yours being USD, is not the same. So it's really the same concept which is evolved into blockchain and crypto, isn't it?
Yeah, originally blockchain, if you go back to the title, Bitcoin and a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, peer-to-peer, it works amazing. If I want to send this 50-cent euro piece to Shruti, that's awesome. But the moment it goes to an exchange, Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, etc., you're just going into the regular banking system. Congratulations, you've invented the SWIFT system. But people are like, no, it's going to bring democracy and freedom. I'm like, if you get paid, I'm not going to pay you a living wage because I need you to go work very hard, pay you pennies so I can make dollars. And cryptocurrencies doesn't solve that. So what is good are they is a real question. But that's a branding exercise.
You're just mocking me, right? And like in my face by saying, okay, this is what your currency is and this is what is mine, really. Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Somewhere around here, I have some rupees.
Okay, so moving on to what is NFT? You're searching for another prop.
Yes. I have a desk here. So I like gummy bears. Gummy bears are amazing. Later we'll
Not
talk
talking about
about
the cartoon gummy bears, right?
no,
I mean,
the
that's
edible
what...
gummy bears that you eat.
Okay, people may not know about it.
They're these delicious little candies that all fat people like myself who do interviews while eating breakfast eat. So there's these delicious little candies. They're squishy. And so when you go to the store, and you and I, Shruti and I, go to the store, it's gonna be our fake bag of gummy bears. We buy this bag of gummy bears. And I'm like, oh man, they're so delicious. So I open up the gummy bears and I start to eat them. And Shruti's like, hey, are you gonna give me gummy bears? I'm saying, no, I'm gonna give you the NFT of the gummy bears. This is a receipt. So in the world of NFTs, they don't represent the tangible good product or service. The NFT represents the proof of purchase. So I'm giving you this receipt. Congratulations. Here, reach your hand out, Shruti. Grab it. Excellent. So I give you that receipt. Hold it up. Hold up that receipt, Shruti. Hold it up. Yes, there you go. She's got the receipt. I have the gummy bears. And in the real world, when that happens, people get very upset because they're like, what did I buy? Oh, I sold you the NFT. I sold you the proof of purchase. I didn't sell you the bag of candy. And so you can do this in the digital world because when you buy an NFT online, you're buying the receipt. You're not buying the image. You're not buying that piece of artwork. And this is where people, when that occurs to them, they get very upset because they're like, hey, I was lied to. It's like, no, you weren't lied to. You literally purchased the NFT. It's a receipt. So if someone's trying to sell you an NFT, like, okay, great. Why do I want to buy proof? Why do I want to pay for proof that I bought something? The easiest way to make this make sense is, again, you have a bag of gummy bears. You're not getting any of this candy. You got the proof of receipt. Now you're thinking that proof of receipt is useless. That would be correct. So there are many instances where having a receipt is super important, but until you attach that receipt to a physical object, that receipt, the piece of paper by itself, is worthless.
So it actually reminded me of, the gaming parlor concept where I can buy a token to go and play a game, thinking that I might win that teddy bear, which would lift it up from that claw, but it doesn't really come ever. So it's really like that, right? I have a token, I may or I may not win something.
A token, they have a use. You can use these tokens to go play a game.
But there's a but.
But an NFT, it has no use.
Exactly, which is why I say that there is no guarantee I'll get that teddy bear, right? I mean, the claw might pick up or not pick up the teddy bear if I put that token in.
If you have a digital token that gives you access to a marketplace or a game so you can play something online, that has use. This NFT, it is the receipt, it's the proof of purchase. that you purchased the NFT. You didn't even purchase the token to go play the game. This is the NFT of the token. Two completely different things. Yes, receipts are very important. If you've ever returned an article of clothing, or if you have a title or a deed to a house, it's good to have a receipt for the house or the title or deed. But by itself, it's just a digital receipt. It's hard to explain that to people when so many fools have been like, oh my God, I'm going to spend so many lakhs on this piece of paper that's attached to nothing.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much sentiments would get crushed, right? Like I just bought something and what is it really worth? And what did I really buy? So maybe it's one of, is it like one of the novo-ish fad which people do, or is NFT also good for common people?
You can have a watch, which tells you the time, or you can have an NFT of the watch, which just says you paid for the piece of paper. If
Right.
you combine them, where it's this NFT represents ownership of this watch, then great, because as soon as you get the watch, you just throw away the NFT because you don't need the receipt anymore. And so for a regular human being, NFTs, they're nothing. But if you're American, if you have some excess cash, you want to gamble online, you can't make it to the casino, I would like to sell you nothing for 250,000 US dollars.
I
Are you going to buy
actually
it from
didn't
me?
want to bring this up, but now that you've said it yourself, like the cat's out of the bag, it literally feels to me like you're selling the dream. But what is the dream? That dream is actually a receipt.
Mhm. So the dream is ownership, particularly when you hear about NFTs for music.
Mhm.
So people think, oh, you're a musician, you can go out and sell your records using NFTs. That's not true, because you still need marketing, distribution, production, and a manager. NFTs, they don't solve that. So most musicians, they get taken advantage of by their manager,
Oh,
by the executive producers, even before, because they have a horrible contract.
right.
They have a horrible music contract even before they go create a quote unquote NFT of their music. And again, in that instance, your NFT doesn't represent ownership of the music. It represents access. They're really selling a token that gives them access to music. But again, most people, they're like, oh, I'm so
I love
excited.
music.
They own the music, but they don't. Also, we should note that NFTs don't convey intellectual property or IP, copyright, trademark, so that if I sold you an NFT of this dollar, right, it doesn't mean you can go copy this, because one, this is legal tender. They get you for money counterfeiting. Two, you don't have rights to make copies of this to sell this, because receipts, they don't convey copyright and trademark. And so you see this with digital art, our art images. I take the photo from behind you and I make an NFT of it. This is a perfect example. I make an NFT of the photo behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Shruti sells the NFT. She never sells the photo. And
Oh,
people are like, hey, I bought this NFT. I'm like, oh yeah, you bought that piece of paper. You bought the receipt. You never let go of that photo. You sell million of these NFTs for that photo. You never actually let go of the photo. You sold a million receipts that said, hey, I have proof that you're an idiot because you paid me for this piece of paper, this digital piece of paper. Because in real life, this is just a line of code. It's a 42 character blockchain receipt. And so you're like, oh, you don't even get the piece of paper? You don't even get the piece of paper in the digital world. So it's like, why are you spending all this money on receipts?
we shouldn't be talking so much honest truth over the internet. I mean, blockchain was okay, crypto was fine. By the time we've dived into the explanation of NFT, it's like we're going to bust so many myths or probably demystify some of the things that suddenly I'm feeling scared. Like, okay, either people will get enlightened or they'll be like, okay, what did I do?
They're going to say, what did I do? Why did I bet all of my hard-earned money? I took all of my hard-earned money and converted it into a receipt that said I gave Shruti all my hard-earned money for a piece of paper that represents nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay. Sometimes in life, you take the test, then you learn the lesson. So now, instead, you've learned a lesson so that when someone says, hey, I want to sell you an NFT, you can say, cool, what is this? What is this connected to? Because if you say, what is it connected to? What ownership does it represent? Then you can understand, like, oh, this NFT does not represent ownership of that photo.
The value
They'll say,
attached. So
oh, it
that's
represents,
the value
yeah, they'll say,
that is
oh,
what we need.
they'll say it represents 1/100th of that photo. That's just the securities. Now we have to talk about securities law, because in India, crowdfunding, and crowdfunding is when you go ask strangers on the internet for money. In India, crowdfunding is very nuanced and difficult. So you can't actually fractionalize that photo and via NFTs. And crowdfunding and NFTs are two separate things.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, sure. And I think crowdfunding is the oldest form of uh, collecting or raising money in India, as far as I understand, like donations and funds to build a monument or place of religious importance. We do that all the time, and we have so many festivals. We always go about raising money for such things. So I think crowdfunding is what we have known and seen since ages. But I don't want to digress from the topic here, and I want to ask you my final question, which is, and I hope you like this: what is Web3?
It's made up. It's a made-believe word.
That's it.
That's the entire answer.
No, this is again going to raise more questions. Like, how could you just say that? Like, Web3 is something which people are trying to look for. But what is it?
Mhm.
What is it exactly? And should we be looking forward to it or not? Like, what is it? Or is it another hoax?
Web3, Web3 is how colonizers convince you to don't just buy their NFTs that represent nothing. When I say colonizers, I mean VCs, venture capitalists, where I'm going to sell you this dream that when I sell you this piece, this NFT that represents nothing, you can magically use it online in a different place than online. Because I ask everyone, when I go to your Web3, does it end in a .com?
Oh gosh. Oh.
No. So ask them, does your Web3 universe end in a .com? And they're going to tell you yes. And you're like, how is that new or different than whatever you think is Web 2? Because remember, Web 2 only existed recently when someone said, we're going to call this
2.0.
NFT space Web 3. This is just marketing. If I can figure out how to recycle stupid people and separate them from their hard-earned money, I'm going to do that. One, because I'm American and that's a very American thing to do. But two, because I'm a capitalist. And so if we can convince you that Web3 exists, well, congratulations. You will give me money, not even understanding that it's not real.
If at all Web3 was real, weren't we implementing that already for blockchain, crypto, NFT, etc., etc.?
So in theory, Web3 is returning ownership to people, but that negates entrepreneurship. And so you will always have people who get together and say, let's build a company. And as soon as they do, there is no shared ownership. There's ownership within the company and people who purchase those shares. But then everyone else, they're just customers of those businesses. And so when people are saying, oh, we're going to democratize the internet, they want to say, we're going to democratize the internet. And then what they really means is, you give me your money, we'll tell you you're free. You will still be in chains, you will still be limited, because this all goes back to this original premise of, if you have to earn a living wage, it doesn't matter if I pay you in dirhams, Jamaican dollars, or euros. I am never, when I say I'm talking about anyone who practices capitalism, never going to pay you a living wage. So people are like, oh, I'm getting paid in Bitcoin. I'm like, cool, you're still making $1 an hour. Because when you get paid in Bitcoin, at some point you're going to convert it to dollars or rupees so you could buy tea. In which case you make $1 an hour. Congratulations. You get paid $1 an hour in Bitcoin. It's very similar to getting paid $1 an hour in rupees. You get paid in rupees. If you come to America, you go to an exchange, you exchange them from rupees into dollars, you pay the exchange. Right. You get paid in Bitcoin. This isn't actual Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a digital currency. If we pay you in Bitcoin, awesome. You're going to go take this Bitcoin, this $100 worth of Bitcoin, convert it into dollars after they deduct 5%. So if you take $100, they deduct their fee because they're an exchange, a currency exchange, currency in air quotes, and now they give you 95 US dollars. Why didn't you just get paid in dollars? Then they're like, well, it's a combat against inflation. Congratulations. Tell me how Bitcoin has helped stop or prevent the price of gas from going up. Or if you're in India, because Ukraine provides about 12% of the Black Sea wheat and other food stores to India, which that 12% equals quite a number of people, it doesn't prevent the price of food from going up. Because regardless if you get paid in Bitcoin, you still have to convert it to the local currency to actually buy your tea, your wheat, your flour, etc. So again, all of this conversation like Web3 doesn't exist. NFTs, congratulations, you discovered receipts. Cryptocurrencies, if you still have to earn a living, you're never going to earn a living wage. And so you just need to be keen and understand that when we're in a system of capitalism, there is the haves and the have-nots. The buzzwords is how you confuse the have-nots for the real transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich.
So to sum it all up, because suddenly I feel so sad, right? And I feel that you're so lucky to be on that side of the world and just giving me the democracy thing, because it's easy for you to say, for at least for me and for people living in India. But as a technologist, then all of these 4 topics we talked about, does that give me no hope at all? Or is it just another game of life? Like, what is it exactly? Like, I feel so sad after listening to everything that you've busted off. Like, as a technologist, do I have no hope about a blockchain or crypto or NFT or Web3 or whatever?
One, if you went to Columbia University or the University of New Hampshire School of Law, you would have to pay to hear me tell you this. Now it's free, so you're winning. 2, and I think this is really, sometimes I call it paying attention. When you charge people a lot of money, they'll be like, oh, that is true. When it's free, they'll be like, he's just a crazy guy with a mohawk. And so one, now that your listeners are like, oh, this is an interesting perspective, because you said, by way for the audience, I do teach at Columbia University, New York, as well as University of New Hampshire School of Law. By training, I'm an anthropologist, so I study people. Shruti will tell you I study her all the time.
Such a show. It's such a show.
And so you said, because I'm telling your audience that I'm studying you, you said, as a technologist, so you put yourself in this box, in this paradigm, in this mode of thinking. And now I'm going to blow your mind. Technology does not solve human problems.
Okay, if this wasn't making anything worse for me and making it sad, it's making me just sadder.
Because no, here's where it's okay. You're not sad. You're confronting the challenge. Right. You want equality. You want equity. You want justice. You want civil rights. You want voting rights. You want financial rights and financial freedom. Technology does not solve these. We actually don't need a consensus. Rather, the ultimate consensus mechanism for solving civil rights, legal rights, and equity is human consensus. And so we'd have to go read Siddhartha to get to a better sense of how do we gain human consensus. Technology doesn't do that for us. It can be a tool that we can use to poll people and say, hey, I want to see, can we all treat each other less human and more humane? And it turns out most humans don't want to actually be humane. But that is the nature of humanity. For the Neanderthals that we did not kill, we bred them out of existence. And so when you want to say, how do we address human problems? As a species, we still have the same brains we had 10,000 years ago. Our brains haven't evolved. Our technology has. And so as part of that evolution, this is where it's a process where we have really cool tools, right? We've updated from fire to 5G, super cool. Our brains, psychologically, emotionally, we haven't evolved from our ancestors. And so if you're thinking you're going to come up with a magical technology solution that fundamentally alters the behaviors of humans to make them less greedy, to reduce our competitive drives, to reduce our biological urges, technology doesn't solve human problems, humans do. And the only way we're going to solve these human problems of gross inequity, the first world, the third world, and how we shape and how language shapes how we see the world, you got to have more conversations. And so don't give up hope, because we're still a relatively young species in geological time. So don't give up hope, because your kids, my kids, the folks who are watching this, their children will have learned, hey, in a modern world, we have all this amazing fancy technology that connects us. When one party starts a war in another country, it impacts us, even though we're thousands of miles away. We're a global community, and that's the hard part to explain to humans. It doesn't matter the technology. We need to admit we're the human race, and as a human race, we got to get along. And now we're going to go have another fight because it's like we don't want to get along with even our neighbors.
I don't think it's about getting along. It's about having, the authority or ownership about over each other. That's the reason why most fights from our home to community to different levels happen, right? Because
Did you just volunteer for me to have authority over you?
what?
Did you just volunteer for me to have authority over you?
No, why would I let you have that? Definitely not.
So you're saying you have authority over me?
No. I'm talking
Oh,
in general when you're saying
so
that
who's in charge?
it's about humanity that we should get along each other, but I again think it's not easy, because there would be somebody who would want, ownership or proprietary or etc., whatever the versions are. And it's like you described utopia for all of us, because that's so hard to achieve. Maybe we can achieve so much with technology, but on the other hand, everything that is human is so hard to achieve.
You hit it on the nail there, because if I don't have ownership over it, we're actually not lost. We're right back to where we started.
Can you repeat that?
Oh,
Because I
I think
think
my internet
your
connection
voice
is not
was,
stable.
yeah, you were interrupted and suddenly you just came back. So can you just repeat whatever you said just one more time?
So if you don't have ownership over me, and I don't have ownership over you,
Oh God.
the moment someone decides that they're in charge,
Mhm.
then all of a sudden Trump says, I'm in charge. Modi says, I'm in charge. Then we're gonna be like, hold up. Putin's like, who's in charge? Because they're just humans. And so we have ego. And so technology does not fix ego. And so again, for yourself and your listeners, we often hear about these amazing technological solutions, but they don't fix human problems. And ego is a huge human problem that even nature has figured out how to fix it, because our human ego has allowed us to ruin the planet.
Right, makes sense. Wow, this was one hell of a talk and a crazy ride. Do you have any parting words for me and for people who would be seeing this? I'm not sure if they'll be happy, they'll be heartbroken, they'll be enlightened. I hope we get to know how they feel about this, because definitely for me, it was a roller coaster ride, this conversation with you. Any parting words, Samson?
Don't give up on humans. We're capable of amazing things, particularly when we work together. The hardest part is coming to that consensus that we should work together towards a common goal. Not Samson's goal, not Shruti's goal, but a common goal. And that's where things get a little bit difficult. But don't worry, we're going to solve global warming, climate change, so that as a species, we, continue to exist. So don't give up hope on humans. I'm just a pessimist, because as an anthropologist, I study humans and I'm like, oh my God, what did you do to all the gods old and new? Like, why did you make us this way? We're so flawed, but in our flaws, we're so perfect. So don't give up on humans, and I'm not going to give up on you. If you find me on social, Samson Williams, drop a line, say hello. I promise you I will come to Dubai as soon as I can travel. I'm going to go to Mexico next week for a bit. So coming to,
Hi, or
sorry, not Dubai, Mumbai is on my to-do list. Because somewhere, not in this desk, in another desk, I know I have some rupees I haven't spent.
Okay, nice. It sounded like a multiverse. Somewhere I have this, but that's cool. And I hope to see you soon if that happens. And looking forward to meeting you, Samson. And thank you so, so much for this crazy, crazy, and amazing talk. Thank you. Bye.